Hey everybody, welcome to your Get to Know Dr. V video. I want to spend just a few minutes giving you some background information, some contact information, and a little bit of information about my teaching philosophy, which should help guide you through the upcoming semester and the course we are about to embark on. So, before anything else, I think it's important to know a little bit about where I came from and how I ended up at Northeastern State University. I grew up in a small town in North Dakota called Valley City. The population at last census was a little bit around 7,000, either north of it or south of it. In Valley City, we don't have a traditional high school mascot. We actually are known as the Highliners, named after the bridge you see in the picture. And because I thought my high school mascot was quite unique, I wanted to use mascots throughout this presentation to kind of orient you to what school I was at and when. I graduated high school in 2008, and so I have been in my teaching career now since 2012, already a decade into this career, and I can't imagine doing anything else. After I finished my high school career, I went on to my undergraduate at Valley City State University. I moved about 1.1 mile to attend school. It's Valley City State University, our mascot is the Viking, and I think of it as very similar to Northeastern State University in that it was founded as Valley City Normal School, which is a school designed to kind of mass produce teachers for rural areas, much like Northeastern State University was. You can also see in the picture and in the icon displayed that our logo is a clock tower. And so I thought that was quite ironic when I moved to Northeastern State University. I graduated with my undergraduate degree, a double major in English education and professional communication with an emphasis in media, and then also a minor in theater. All of this graduated in 2012. And then right afterward, I went out into my first job, which was at Rugby Public Schools. I taught 7th and 8th grade English. I was also a high school speech coach, theater director. I taught a few high school electives. One of my favorite was a high school fiction class where we just read, banned, and challenged books. It was a lot of fun for me and for the students. While I was in Rugby, North Dakota, a population of about 3,000 people, but ironically in North Dakota, that is the 15th most populous community in the state, so that's kind of interesting. One thing that I loved about Rugby is that it was the geographical center of North America, and so I always like to tell people that Rugby is the geographical center of North America. The high school I taught at was in the very center of Rugby, and then my classroom was in the very center of the high school. And so for 5 years while I was there, the North America literally revolved around me. That was always my favorite joke. I did my master's degree online at North Dakota State University, go Bison, and graduated with that in 2016. Now, I did that entirely online. So I taught full-time at Rugby Public School, and I completed an online master's program, which really got me interested in the ways that technology is being used to kind of close the gap in terms of education and information acquisition. And so I was really interested in how I could further that knowledge and decided in 2017 to quit teaching at the K-12 level and go back to North Dakota State University, this time in person, to achieve my PhD. My emphasis is in media, technology, and society with a minor in adult learning. So really what I am most interested in is how people use technology to learn both formally and informally. That means in a classroom as well as out of a classroom. I'm also really interested in the ways that technology is used by instructors to enhance the student-instructor relationship and increase learning outcomes. So really everything that I like is surrounds the classroom, technology, and learning. Fargo, North Dakota, as an FYI, is the most populous city in the state of North Dakota with a population of 105,000 people. When we moved to Tahlequah in 2021, we actually discovered that Tulsa has more people in it than the state of North Dakota, which was kind of shocking at the time. I moved to Tahlequah in July of 2021 to take this job at Northeastern State University, where I primarily teach courses in interpersonal, intercultural, and computer-mediated communication, as well as communication theory. I am the director of the Northeastern State University Communication Lab, so if you ever have to go make an appointment to practice any kind of presentation, I will be the person that is overseeing the lab, though not necessarily the person you would consult with. I'm also the co-advisor of the Club and would welcome anybody who wants more information to ask me about it. I would be happy to tell you more. Just as a note, I did move 855 miles from Fargo, North Dakota to Tahlequah. I thought that was kind of an interesting number. It seems so much further when you're doing it. What do you have to look forward to this semester? What is some stuff about me and some of my quirks? Well, I grew up in the 90s, so you're going to get at least 17 bad jokes during the semester, and that's not going to keep me from trying. I'm in my 30s. I like bad humor. I like bad jokes. I think it's fun. I also always tell people the best kind of points are brownie points, and so laughing at my jokes is never a bad thing. You're also in store for at least twice daily references to my dogs, Biscuit and Cookie. Biscuit is the German Shepherd. He is 3, and Cookie is the Pit Bull mix. She is coming up on 2 years old quite soon here. Again, like I said, I grew up in the 90s. You're going to have constant throwbacks to the 90s. This is going to include things like Backstreet Boys, Britney, the Kool-Aid Man. I just loved the 90s. I love being nostalgic for the 90s. And I'm also a huge Marvel Cinematic Universe nerd. Endgame is one of my favorite movies of all time. I know that seems like everybody says that, but Iron Man came out the year I graduated high school, and so I've really gotten to follow the MCU throughout my adult life, which has been really, really, really exciting for me. What do you need to call me during the semester? Well, you have some good options such as Dr. V, Dr. Vareberg, pronounced R as in car, Berg. You can call me Professor. What you should not call me is Hey Dude. I'm not a peer. I am a superior in this situation. I am your professor in this situation. So a little bit of respect is going to go a long way, right? Some people choose to call me Kyle. That's fine. If you want to call me Kyle and you think we're on that level, then that is completely up to you. What you should not call me is Ken or Greg or whatever the male equivalent of a Karen is. I don't know. I had a long debate about this with people. We can't figure it out. I also encourage you to make sure you spell my name correctly in correspondence. Otherwise, I'm just inclined to not respond to it, especially if it's an email, because my name will be right there. My office is located in Wilson Hall, room 249. That's on the second floor. There are some communication and media studies banners hung up. Outside of my office, we also have little cards with our pictures on them, if you can find that. My email is posted on this screen. Like I said, spelling is going to be very, very important in this situation. My office hours and the ability to make an appointment can be seen by either typing in this link. I know it would be a nuisance to type it in using a video, so I also give you a QR code so you can scan and direct yourself to it automatically. Here are some things that I believe to be true about education, and especially education in the 21st century. I believe that in order to create an educational experience that is considered exceptional, there are a few primary components. The first thing that I try to do in every class is create opportunities for you guys to connect with each other. Oftentimes, this is going to be through discussion in face-to-face classes. This might be through things like Think, Pair, Share, while in online classes, this might be through things like Flipgrid and online engagement activities. I also believe in creating connections with the instructor. This is why I send out announcements every week. This is why I try to create multiple channels of communication, including email, GroupMe, etc., for you to be able to contact me, as I do think that is vital to your ultimate educational success, is that you know that I am here at the other side of the computer, waiting to help you. I'm not waiting, like sitting here waiting for you, but you know what I'm saying. The last thing is creating connections with the content. And I do believe that it is best to connect with the content constructively so that you're building something. You'll find that in a lot of my classes, I am a project-based learner or project-based instructor where you're going to learn through projects, as I think that is one of the most constructive and most beneficial ways to learn is to put it together and then to figure out how did I just put it together. It is the nexus of all three of these areas that creates the exceptional educational experience, which is why I strive in every class, every week, to create opportunities for all three types of connections. 3 truths that I hold about teaching and learning. First, I do believe that you can lead a horse to water. I do believe that you can take a horse and forcibly dunk its head in the water. But what I also believe is that a horse cannot be made to take a drink. In this instance, the horse must choose that for themselves. I will do everything I can to attempt to help you during the semester, and I will lay out a lot of what I have done in this video, but I cannot make you choose to learn. You have to take that step. This relationship has to be at least 51% on your side to 49% on mine. I cannot do more work than you are willing to do. Second, I believe that a student does not care how much you know until they know how much you care. I'm going to do a lot of things this semester that try to help you realize that I'm just here and trying to help you learn. At the end of the day, that is the ultimate goal, that you leave the classroom experience knowing more than you did when you started. And that is what I will try to do. But I think it starts with you understanding who I am and where I'm coming from, hence this video. Last, learning is all about the power of yet. It's not that you do not know something, it's that you do not know it yet. It is yet that allows learning to happen. When you accept the fact that something can be learned, it just hasn't happened yet, then that helps you shift to what's known as a growth mindset. A growth mindset is something that we're going to try to adapt this semester as we realize that failing, at least in this class, is just a first attempt in learning. And what that means is that when we often fail, we allow it to become debilitating, that it pushes us backward. Instead, I encourage you to find ways to fail forward and to adopt this growth mindset. To instead of avoiding challenges, embrace them, persist when you face setbacks, and instead of seeing it as the end and that you have proven yourself incapable of something, see your efforts as just one step in a path to mastery. That criticism is not there to be negative and it is not there to bring you down, but is instead there to help you grow and to help you build you up. That when I give feedback, and I give a lot of feedback, guys, when I give feedback, I'm attempting to help you find ways to try it differently in the future. What all this means by adopting a first attempt in learning mindset, it suggests to us that you should hand something in for every assignment. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's your best work ever. It doesn't matter if you think it would be better in 6 weeks. It means hand it in now. Get some feedback and try again. Okay, that is where learning will happen. If you allow yourself to become completely debilitated, to see an assignment and then to just fall, just to completely crumble beneath that weight, that is what's considered failing down. We want to fail up, that even if you see something that is a challenge, you look at it as an opportunity. That's something that you can surpass instead of something that is going to beat you back. This is because in education, the only comparison that matters is not who you are compared to others, but who you are today compared to who you were yesterday. I firmly believe this is true, and I do believe in grading each student against themselves, which is why I adopt a lot of assignments where it's not really about the curve. It's not about having the right average or anything like that. It's about you working on your skills and your abilities for your future. I also believe, and this goes into my grading as well, that communication is not about being right or wrong. We don't communicate in right or wrong ways. We communicate in effective or appropriate ways, and then in the contrast, ineffective or inappropriate ways. And it's very important to recognize that, because as we move forward, if you continue to try to see things as right or wrong, you're going to box yourself into a corner that you're never going to be able to get out of, because then everything is going to feel wrong and nothing is ever going to feel right. The last thing I want to say on that is that there is one difference that counts, and that is the difference between 0 and 1. Oftentimes we're going to do something and it is going to be the first attempt that we make in it, and what counts there is trying, because the next time you do it, the next time you'll have the experience from the first time, and that difference is all the marbles, because the moment you can predict something, you're going to feel a lot more comfortable and you're going to be a lot more successful. All of this builds into my late work extension and revision policy. For all of my deadlines, you have a 24-hour buffer beyond what's posted. So if something is posted and due at 11:59 p.m. and you submit it by 11:59 p.m. the next day, it would not be considered late. However, anything after that 24-hour period is not going to be accepted. The Dropbox is going to close. So after that 24-hour buffer, that assignment can no longer be submitted. Regarding revisions, for any assignment you submit by that original deadline or you get it in before the 24-hour buffer, you are permitted to revise and resubmit your work for an increased grade up to 100%. So if you hand something in by the buffer and it is total trash, right? It is garbage and you know it's garbage, but you handed it in. Remember, first attempt in learning, get the feedback and then revise it. That is better than taking the 0 by handing nothing in at all. That is what we're working toward here. Handing something in is better than handing nothing in and getting a 0. Regarding extensions, now this is what's important. If you come near a deadline or you fall within that 24-hour window and you just can't get your work done, you may request a formal extension. You should do this through email, and you should indicate 3 very important things in your email addressed to me, where you spell my name correctly, of course. The first thing is the progress you've made so far on the assignment, even if that progress is 0, even if that progress is all I've done is read it and annotate it. Even if you've not done that, you have to own what you've done so far, because that's the only way we can move forward. Second, you have to tell me the work you have left to complete, plus an estimate of time needed. So if you are looking at having to do the whole thing, you need to be really honest about when you're going to get that done, understanding that I can fire back and say, if you suggest 2 weeks, I can come back with 1 week, right? We are going to negotiate that estimate of time needed. And last, you should tell me what you need from me. The goal with these 3 things is to put us into communication prior to missing the deadline. I will tell you, if you send me an email with these 3 things and a good reason for needing an extension, I'm probably going to say yes. I want you to learn at the end of the day. That is my goal. And if you need an extension to learn, then that is what you need to learn, right? I'm not going to turn that down. But if you ask for one over and over and over again, I'm going to start becoming a little bit more suspicious. I have several supports in place for you that are going to help you throughout the semester. The first one is I have full schedules with due dates included. You can see all of the due dates are posted in your schedule. I also include with every schedule a paragraph up at the top that describes how to read the schedule. I try to outline what all the columns are and how to read from left to right. I also include in all of my courses an orientation week. This is week 0, where you're going to have some tasks to complete. And if you complete them, you should be set up for success for early weeks in this course in terms of handing stuff in, etc. The second thing is that we have both formal and informal group communication. I have group me's in all of my classes that you are welcome to join. I encourage you join. The group me is meant to be an informal place for you to ask questions that other people might benefit from. I like to share inspirational memes on the group me. I encourage you do the same thing. But that, of course, is informal. Our formal means of communication continues to be and will be throughout the semester email. I also have Dr. V's help site. This is something I created over this last summer. And what I did is I just tried to curate a lot of resources that I found my students coming back to over and over again. So in a lot of my assignments, I would try to include helpful tips and things for students to use. And what instead I did is I just put them all into one place under a few primary headings. This includes resources for speaking, resources for reading, and resources for writing. I also have mini lectures in all of the courses I teach. So if you're taking one now and you're like, oh, I remember that lecture from that other course, you can find it on Dr. V's Help Center. And the last thing I include is classroom technologies. So I use Flip, or I use Slack, or I use all these different technologies, Prezi, for instance, in my classes. And this will give you a place to go for helpful advice and how-tos and videos, tutorials, etc. I also do something in my assignments called Assignment Afterthoughts, which is your opportunity to give me some informal thoughts about an assignment after the assignment is complete. So what you'll do is you'll just open the assignment and add how you thought it went. You can kind of reflect on it a little bit. But this is really important if you have any lingering questions or you're wondering if something was done incorrectly / correctly, and you want pinpointed feedback on that. I also include written and oral directions, plus an opportunity for all of my assignments to annotate and to ask questions. And I think that's a very important step. So important, in fact, that it's the only opportunity for bonus points in this course and in any of my courses, is simply by annotating and asking questions. You have an opportunity to build some recovery points and bolster your grade. I think it's very important to recognize that my assignment instructions are always external. They appear in a Google Doc. The idea is that you can download that document and then not need the internet to work on your assignment again, because I know people in rural areas do not always have, reliable internet. I also include video instructions, and you would just simply need to click the hyperlink and it will take you to video instructions that you would be able to watch, and it would be like if I explained it in class. The last thing I want to walk through is where to find feedback, as I think this is really, really important, and I find that a lot of students are not even aware of all the locations for feedback in this course. So we're going to watch this brief video.
This video is designed to quickly break down where you can find instructor feedback as you work on assignments and projects moving forward. It was brought to my attention just recently that students do not always know where Blackboard hides feedback. So I want to lay out the 3 places you can find feedback from me on most of your assignments. First, when you open up your grade center, you should come across a page that looks like this, and you should see some little blue bubbles next to your scores. That is a feedback bubble. That will be just a very generic comment that I will write, kind of trying to break down some of the more important things that I think you should do moving forward. The feedback bubble is clickable. You click on it, it'll bring up a screen that will show, again, that generic comment. So that right there is a clickable feature. That is one place where you can find feedback. Second, if the assignment has a rubric attached to it, you can open the rubric using the View Rubric function. If the assignment has not been handed in, you'll see what the rubric is going to assess you on. If the assignment has been handed in and you open the rubric and it's been scored, you can see where on the rubric you fell, where I mark each of your components of that assignment. I also write comments for each of the areas I take points off, so make sure you read those specific comments as well. Finally, if I make comments directly on the document, on whatever it is that you handed in, the words, in this case annotated bibliography, would be highlighted and you could click on it. Clicking on that would bring you to your assignment with my comments directly laid onto the document. That is 3 different locations that you can find comments. Make sure you take advantage of that. 3 different locations is huge. Like, you can find a lot of information that you might have been missing. That's literally the whole point of this video. I hope you all have fun looking at feedback.
So, like I said, very, very easy ways to find feedback that I often find students are not aware of. The last thing I want to share with you is just what happens if you need help along the way. I encourage you first to check the syllabus, announcements, or Blackboard, because almost every question has already been answered. And if not, to check the assignment FAQs, to check the assignment Q&As that are left based on the annotations, as often other students are going to ask these questions as well. These are going to be the first resources you should use. And if something is answered easily in the syllabus or in the assignment, expect an email response from me if you email me right away that just says check the syllabus, please. The second thing is to check Dr. V's Help Center. Like I said, this is curated resources on a variety of different things. I have tried to pick resources that I think would be helpful, so that way you don't have to battle with Google or anything like that. They're just already identified and you can just use them. You could join our GroupMe. Again, see Blackboard for link to join. We use this to post public questions, to receive answers from our peers. And like I said, I like to share motivational memes, but that might be me. I encourage others to share them because I think they make the semester a lot more fun. You can email me, again, check spelling, and make sure you adhere to email etiquette. If you have an email with way too many typographical errors or that doesn't follow email etiquette, I'm just going to send it back to you and ask you to rewrite. And the last option is to attend my office hours. Like I said, you can find my office hours and a link to book an appointment on the first page, or you can see right here in the link that is left below. That is everything on your Get to Know Me video. I hope that this has been helpful in not only telling you who I am, but giving you an insight into how I approach teaching and what I think is important in the classroom. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out, and I will see you in class. Take care, everybody.